Hey guys, it's Kate, and welcome to another episode of Get Prepped Podcast, where we talk with voice actors, nonprofit leaders, and business owners about a gonna be the new game, Get Prepped. Today we have yet another one of our newer voice actresses. You might know her from Interview with a Vampire and Unplanned. She is the great Najah Bradley. Thanks for coming on, Najah.
Hi, thank you so much for having me.
All right, my first question for you is, how did you get into acting?
I my story is kind of weird. I actually was a model as a child, like have comp cards from when I was as young as two. And I did it with my dad because my dad was a model as well. And back then, Atlanta was kind of a hot spot for print modeling. So you could, work pretty often. So I was doing that on and off until I was about 14 or 15. And then I kind of got into my sports, right? So I started running track and doing cheerleading and just every kind of extracurricular you could think of. And then came college, and I wanted to get into acting then, but my dad was really adamant about me getting a degree, completing that degree, getting something that could always be mine, no matter what. And so, as the compromise, I went to UGA, go dogs, and I got my degree in communications and new media. So, we were doing app development, and I was doing sideline reporting for GeorgiaDogs.com. I was doing stories on the gymnastics team and just everything sports journalist related, because in my mind, the closest thing I could get to what I wanted to do, which was, go back to the acting and the modeling of it all, was be on TV and talk about something I loved at the time, which was sports. And then fast forward to graduating, my dad just again, thanks, Dad. My dad just happens to reach out and say, hey, we still have some contacts in the industry if you wanted to give it a go. Because by now I had already done what he wanted, which was complete the degree. He was like, if you want to go for it, I can reach out to some people. So we reached out to some of my mine and his old representation to see if I could get back into it. And we did. So I signed with an agent pretty immediately, and got to work on a lot of commercials. So I got my big start was in commercials. And then I started to, after that success, realize, oh, I really, really kind of like this. Like, I think I want to go all in. And so then we moved into film and television. The roles you were saying, Interview with Vampire, Unplanned. I also did Cobra Kai for a hot second. I did Dynasty. Um, I had a small part in Oscar-nominated film last year. That was really awesome. That one was called Nickel Boys, based on a book. And I've got some cool projects coming out next year that I'm really, really excited about. So, and it kept kind of happening. It's like, okay, I'm really loving this thing. I'm going to keep going. I'm going to get in class, read books, do all the things you do. And next step for me was like, I really like voice acting too. Like, I really love going to the studio. It reminds me of when I used to sing, but it's like going to the studio and kind of making magic and telling the story with another instrument. And so here we are now with my first, oh, and hopefully not last, because I'm incredibly excited about being just in the world of gaming and animation. And this feels like the thing that is going to make me again confirm how much I love it and then get to keep doing it, hopefully. That was a
Nice.
long winded answer to your
No,
question.
it was still a great one. I got my start doing sports related stuff for a blog myself. And this year I actually dabbled a little bit into sideline reporting.
Yeah.
That experience was a disaster because I had no idea what I was doing. But sports is definitely a great way to get your foot in the door. My next question for you is, what was your favorite role to take on in your career?
That's a tough one. That's a tough one. So far, it's probably a tie between, oh, oh yeah, it's a tie. I'm gonna be lame. I can't pick because because it feels like they kind of got better as they kept going. So Interview with the Vampire was my first, like, where I left and I was like, oh my God, that was my favorite. And it was because it's its own universe. You know, Anne Rice is an incredible writer, and it's the pilot series of that universe for AMC. And I got to play such a titular character in that without Miss Lily, Lestat and Louis don't meet in this world. And Jacob Anderson and Sam Reed were just incredible, incredible people to work with. They just made me feel like I was supposed to be there. They made me feel at home. And even the producers of the show, when we wrapped that like first scene where they meet, they were just giving me so many flowers and praise for like helping bring excitement back into that scene, because that's such an important scene that they had seen it over and over and over again. You know, the guys had to read that for their auditions, and once you finally film it, you know, a year or so later, it's like it can either fall flat or it can be like everything came together. And so that was my first time, and then when I left, I had like fans, and I hadn't had fans before. You know, people were reproducing like artwork of me in the world, and it was just the coolest thing. And then last year, or was it 2 years ago, I got to be a part of, which will come out Memorial Day weekend, 2026. It'll get a worldwide release, and that is I Love Boosters, because I got to go back and work with Boots Riley, who is an incredible director. He's so outside of the box as a creator. And I was introduced into his world with I'm a Virgo, his Amazon show, but then he brought me back for the film I Love Boosters, which is a star-studded cast. Like, I'm just incredibly grateful to be surrounded by these heavy hitters. But being in his world then was like, okay, now this one's my favorite. Like, all of like this imagination is just insane. You read the scripts and it's insane, but it works. And I feel like he's the only one that could make something that crazy work. And then there's another one that I'm not sure if I can talk about, but it is a comedy that it kind of reminds me of like the Superbad and the Step Brothers and the Talladega Nights, and the kind of that really over the top, ridiculous situation comedy and humor. And I got to be a part of that. And I got to be, and it was just incredible. And I can't wait for that to come out either. So I think right now it's those three. And I'm hoping for something, you know, in the future that I can say, oh man, it's only getting better. But I'm very lucky. I'm very lucky to be a part and not be able to choose between a favorite. But those three come to mind as like hanging out at the tippy top there.
I definitely respect, man, and those are excellent choices. I love the movie Step Brothers, so I'm looking forward to seeing your comedy next year. My next question for you is, so what's a funny or challenging on-set moment that you want to talk about?
Okay, I can do funny and challenging, I think. It was on this one, the most recent one I did, that is going to be that comedy. We were shooting on a relatively low budget. So we were kind of outside, you know, long days, and the weather was not our best friend in that it was hot and kind of moist and just like very Georgia weather. And it's tough because sometimes it takes a little longer to get down the set list, the shot list, and actors, we don't always know what's going on. We just know like, hey, I've been sitting out here, but we're also trying to get it before the sun sets because, you know, continuity is a thing. And so I recall all of us being incredibly like delirious. You know how you just get to a point where you're so tired, but you're kind of running on fumes and you keep going. So we're under the tent, all of us, the cast together, and there's one person in the cast that is younger, like 18-ish. And so I decided to take it upon myself to ask what certain certain slang means. And, all the guys around me are, my age and older. So he's literally 1 to 2 generations separated from everyone around him. And from that, we just kind of waterfall down this just humor, inside jokes. And so for it to have been as challenging as it was, my goodness, was it fun, because we just couldn't stop laughing. We couldn't stop laughing. We made lemonade with our lemons, and I think it's going to make the film even better just because of that camaraderie that we were able to have behind the scenes, and that push through that everybody just wanted to make something cool. And I will never forget my time on that, because it was just, I had never laughed so much off camera at work, So yeah, that one, oh, that's good.
I definitely feel he'll, man, and I still don't understand what certain slang and generations he means myself, and I'm a part of that generation. So either I'm mature for my age, or
Right.
I'm not up to date. My last question for you is: so, what's a casual hobby that you like to do that people may not know you enjoy?
A hobby? I guess people kind of know now, but people that like meet me won't think it off the rip. And then when we talk about it, it's like the eyes go big. And it's plants. You can kind of see, this is my home. This is, I have somewhere around 400 houseplants, and I take care of all of them. And so I guess if I could go back, man, I'd study botany in college for sure, just because this is all kind of feelings and intuition and caregiverness that I provide for these plants. So yeah, I mean that, and then the other would be singing. Maybe I've always sang, but I've never made it kind of something that's at the forefront of my creativity. And I'm starting to venture into that, to conquer that fear of personal vulnerability on stage. So yeah, I've got my in-home hobby and then my out-home hobby, I guess.
I definitely feel it. Yeah, and I'll be sure to be on the lookout for your debut album. Anyways, that's been Drew for the Cindy, guys. Thanks so much to Najah for coming on and sharing her story. If you guys want to see more amazing interviews with those involved in Get Prepped, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe to the Get Prepped channel. And to learn more about the game, scan the QR code here. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.